Hey guys, today we're going to dive into the wondrous world of AI and Java. We're going to do a whole series actually, and we'll go into a whole different spectrum of ways that we can integrate with AI. Of course, there's a lot of ground we need to cover, right? Because there's a lot of ways that we can interact with AI models. So we'll look at, how to, well, first prompt a model, and then we'll take a look at some more advanced topics like RAG, where we augment responses with documents on our side. We'll look at tools and agentic AI. We'll take a look at how to add observability to our application, how we can prevent prompt injection. So, we're going to go through a whole bunch of things. So make sure to subscribe to the channel. And then, of course, if you like the videos, hit that like button. I really appreciate the feedback. So anyway, let's get started with our first project and call a model and interact with it. Basically, we're going to prompt it. We're going to use two projects for this. So the first project is LangChain4j, which is a kind of Java agnostic library to interact with large language models. So you can use this with plain Java, you can use this with Spring, but you can also use it with Quarkus, which is what we're going to use in this series, because it makes life a little bit easier, especially with LangChain4j. There's really nice integrations, and then we'll see how we can add some more stuff on top of our application using those mainly those two projects. So let's get started with LangChain4j. So if you go to langchain4j.dev, you'll see that there's a whole bunch of information and documentation for LangChain4j. You see that there's a get started, and you see that you can use Quarkus, you can use Spring Boot, or you can just use plain Java. And then you have some tutorials, how to chat and how to interact with agents and observability and MCP and a whole bunch of other stuff. And then you see a bunch of integrations. It supports a series of language models. So, pick the one that works for you, I guess. Embedding models, image models, and so on and so forth. So like I said, we, on the other hand, will be using Quarkus LangChain4j, so it's probably easiest to just go to the Quarkus website. So here at quarkus.io, you can hit the button up to the right to start coding. So once you do that, we can ignore this message here. In the search box, we can type in LangChain4j. And then we can see there's LangChain4j Core, LangChain4j Azure, Chroma, EasyRag, Hugging Face, and so on and so forth. So we are interested in working with the OpenAI spec right now. So I'm going to look for that particular one. Let's see if we can find it. LangChain4j, OpenAI, here we go. That's the one we want. And that will allow us to interact with, for example, ChatGPT, but also other models that support the same spec, the same specification that OpenAI has open sourced. So in the first instance, we will use ChatGPT, but I'll show you how in the next chapter, how to interact with, for example, Podman AI Lab, where you can run a model on your local machine and also use the OpenAI specification, same with Ollama. Anyway, so we can see here LangChain4j, OpenAI, that's the one we want. And let's generate our first application. And then we can download it or push it to GitHub. So in my case, I'll just go ahead and download it, and then we'll unpack it on our local machine. So I've downloaded the file, and now I can go to my downloads folder, and then I think it was called code with Quarkus. So let's go into that folder, and then go ahead and open that with your favorite IDE or just any IDE that works. So in my case, I'm using VS Code, but IntelliJ or whatever works just as well, if not better. So yes, I trust the author in my case. And then we can see here's our project. So you can see, if you're familiar with Java, which I hope you are for this tutorial, this should look fairly familiar, right? So you got your source, Java, and then we don't have anything in there right now. We do have an application properties file that was already created. And then let's take a look at our pom.xml, where we can see that we have the Quarkus LangChain for J OpenAI dependency with the latest version 23.3. And well, this is the latest version right now for me. Most likely when you're trying this out, you might have a later version. That's totally okay too. Anyway, so we have the version here, and now we want to start creating our AI client, right? So best probably way of going is to go to the LangChain for J Quarkus documentation. So if you search for Quarkus LangChain for J, you'll most likely find the documentation in the Quarkiverse. And you can see here there's some information and a quick overview. So you can see here kind of the same thing that we already did, which is add the Quarkus LangChain for J OpenAI dependency. And, you know, for example, if you want to use a model from Hugging Face, you would just use Quarkus LangChain for J Hugging Face. We need potentially an OpenAI API key, so we'll add that to our project as well. So let's go to the application properties and add that. You can just try the demo key for now until we go into the further use cases. So just type demo and you should be able to start playing around with it. And then what we will need to do is create an interface that is annotated with this register AI service. And that's going to allow the Quarkus application to understand that, hey, this is a service that calls the AI model. So in this case, to write a professional poem. So I'm going to go ahead and just copy this and paste it into a new Java class called my AI service, right? So new Java file. And if you remember correctly, it was an interface. So we'll do org acme for the package, and then my AI service. And then we'll paste the what we got from the Quarkus website. Okay, so now we have our My AI service interface, and you can see here annotated with register AI service. We're gonna go ahead and remove the tool. That'll be for next chapter. And then you can see we have a system message and a user message. So the system message basically gives some context to the LLM to say, you know, like this is some background information, how you should act, what you should keep in mind. And so we tell it, you are a professional poet. And then the user message is basically the message that, you know, what you want to the LLM to do or to return back to you. So in this case, the user message is write a poem about topic. The poem should be lines long. And then the next part we don't need just yet to send the email by the poem by email, because that's part of a next chapter. In this case, we just wanted to write a poem about a specific topic. So you can see here, topic is in these curly braces and matches up with the parameters of our method here. So you can see here we have a method write a poem with two parameters, topic and lines, and those match up with those placeholders right there. So that's a nice feature of Quarkus with LangChain for J. It uses the Quarkus Qt templating engine, and so you can use, you know, placeholders in your user message, which makes it all a little bit more dynamic, which is pretty handy, right? So in this case, we want the LLM to return a string, and that's why we have the return type of string here. Now, of course, we need some way to call this method to actually do something. So let's create a REST service. So we do need to create, we need to add a dependency to our Quarkus application to return REST. So you can add the dependency in your pom.xml. In my case, I'll just use VS Code's Quarkus plugin. So you can see here, Quarkus add extensions to current project. So that's one way to add more extensions to your Quarkus project. And then I want to add Quarkus, not Quarkus reset, but Quarkus rest. All right, so add that, and you can see down here, it says add extension. And then in my pom.xml, we'll see that a Quarkus REST extension was added. And then we can create a new Java file, and we'll call this my resource. I'm not very creative today. And then basically, we're going to add a path annotation here from the Jakarta spec. And then we'll do this on the root path. And then we'll create a new method, public string, say hello, probably not. We'll write poem is a good name, I guess. We want this to be a get, and then we want it to return produces, and then with media type text, right? Not test, but text. Text, there we go. HTML, yeah, that's fine. All right, so in terms of, instead of returning a string, we want to, of course, return what we get from the AI service. So we do need to inject that into our code. So we could do that in a constructor, or we can use the inject annotation, and then my AI service is, of course, what we want to inject. And then we're going to return my AI service dot write a poem with a topic. So topic can be, I don't know, Quarkus AI. And then we want this to be, let's say, 4 lines long. Okay, so I think that's all we need. So now we can test this all out by running the Quarkus dev mode. So you can do Maven, Quarkus dev, or if you have the Quarkus CLI, you can also just do Quarkus dev. So the Quarkus CLI, you can find that, find the information on the Quarkus website as well. All right, and then let's see, it should start up in just a second. If you haven't downloaded dependencies, it might be a couple seconds. And now it should be running on my local machine. In the meantime, you might have noticed when I was typing that I got some code suggested. So if you care, I'm using an extension in VS Code that's also available in IntelliJ called Continue, and it's using a local model on my local machine, Quen, running on Olama. So just in case you're interested. Anyway, let's go look at the browser. And let's go to localhost 8080, hit refresh, and you can see after just a moment, we see that a poem was returned from the LLM that says, in the realm where code takes flight, Quarkus AI dances swift and bright with the microservices weaving dreams anew, empowering minds in the tech's grand view. Cringe. So yeah, it did work, right? So we had great success here. With our Quarkus application, in just a few lines, we were able to call ChatGPT, in this case for free. We just used a demo key. This does not work for advanced cases, but for just plain simple prompting, this is all we need. We created the AI service with the register AI service annotation, and then with the annotation user message and optionally system message, we were able to provide a message to via LangChain4j to, in this case, ChatGPT. We'll see in other chapters how we can call other models as well. All right, so I hope this was interesting to you, right? So in this case, you saw finally that we injected the My AI service into our business logic, into our application. So in this case, we had a REST endpoint, but it could have been, a chatbot or anything else that integrates this AI service. And then the AI service returned the string, which we saw in the browser. So thank you for joining this first episode of our journey into the world of Java and AI with LangChain4j and Quarkus. Stay tuned for the next episode, where we're going to go look at how we can persist some of these messages with using memory. And then we'll also look into function calling with agents, and we'll look at observability. We'll look at running models in our local machine. We'll go through a whole lot more stuff. So stay tuned. Subscribe if you haven't yet. Hit the like button if you like this session, and then I hope to see you soon. Thank you. Bye.